Welcome to the Wisdom and Blessing channel. Tonight, we'll explore the gentle space between thought and rest, where the mind can continue its movement while you find your way into sleep. You don't need to change anything or fix anything. You're already exactly where you need to be. Let yourself settle here, however you are, and know that this time is yours alone. There's no wrong way to be in this moment. You're lying here, and the thoughts keep coming. They arrive like visitors who don't know when to leave. One thought leads to another, and then another, and you notice how the mind just keeps moving, turning, circling back to things you thought you'd already set down. There's nothing wrong with this. The mind does what minds do. It thinks. It remembers, it plans and reviews and wonders. This is simply what's happening right now. The mind is being a mind. Just as your heart beats without asking permission, your mind thinks without asking permission. Both are natural. Both are simply happening. Somewhere far from here, there's a temple on a hillside. The night air moves through its open windows. A monk sits on a wooden floor with his eyes half closed. His mind is also moving. Thoughts arrive in him just as they arrive in you. He notices a sound outside. He remembers something from earlier in the day. He wonders about tomorrow. The thoughts come, and he doesn't try to stop them. He simply stops following them so closely. He stops believing that every thought is a pathway he must walk down. Some thoughts he notices and lets pass like clouds moving across the sky. They don't ask for anything. They just move through. You can feel the weight of your body against whatever surface holds you. The pillow beneath your head, the blanket over your shoulders, the mattress or a cushion supporting your back and legs. Your body knows how to rest even when your mind feels busy. These two things can happen at the same time. The mind can move and the body can soften. Neither one has to wait for the other. The body has its own wisdom that doesn't depend on what the mind is doing. It knows how to breathe without thinking about breathing. It knows how to keep your heart beating while you sleep. It knows so much that your conscious mind never has to touch. The monk in the temple hears a bell ring in the distance. It's a slow sound that fades into the darkness. The sound moves through the air and touches his ears and then dissolves into silence. When the sound is gone, he notices that he's been thinking about something. He doesn't remember when the thought started. It was just there, moving through his mind, like the bell sound moving through the air. And now he notices it the way you might notice a bird that's been sitting on a branch. You don't have to send it away. You don't have to keep watching it. You don't have to do anything about it at all. It's just there, existing, being what it is. Your thoughts tonight might be about things that need doing, lists that form themselves without your permission, tasks for tomorrow that line up in your mind like people waiting in a queue, conversations that didn't go the way you wanted, playing again and again, your mind offering different versions, better responses, things you wish you'd said, worries about what might happen or what might not happen, questions about decisions you need to make. The mind offers all of this, and it doesn't ask if you want it. It just keeps presenting these things like a shopkeeper laying out goods you didn't come to buy. The shopkeeper isn't being unkind. This is just what shopkeepers do. They display their wares. Your mind displays thoughts. It's the nature of mind. There's a forest near the temple. At night, it's full of small sounds, leaves moving in subtle air currents, branches settling as the wood cools, small creatures moving through undergrowth, an owl calling from somewhere deep among the trees. The forest doesn't try to be quiet. It simply is what it is. The monk sometimes walks there in the evening when the light is fading. He notices that his mind is often busiest when he's trying to make it calm. The more he reaches for silence, the more noise he finds. It's like trying to smooth water by patting it with your hands. The effort itself creates more disturbance. So he stops reaching, he stops trying, he walks, and the thoughts come with him. They're like companions he didn't invite, but who walk alongside him anyway. He doesn't send them away. He doesn't welcome them particularly. He just walks, and they're there, and that's how it is. You might notice your breathing now, not to change it, not to make it deeper or slower or better, just to notice. It comes in and goes out. Sometimes it's shallow, sometimes it's deeper. The breath continues whether you pay attention to it or not. It was breathing you before you noticed it. It will continue breathing you after your attention moves elsewhere. Your mind might comment on this. It might say, "You're breathing wrong," or "not relaxing properly." The mind has opinions about everything, about how you should be, about what you should be feeling, about whether you're doing this right. You can let it have those opinions. They don't require anything from you. An opinion is just another thought. It arrives and it will pass just like all the others. In the temple, there are candles. They were lit earlier in the evening when the sun was setting. Now they burn low, the wax pooling around the base of each wick. The monk watches the small flames move. They flicker and bend in air currents too subtle to feel. Each flame is different. Some burn steady, some dance and waver. His mind says things about the candles, about time passing, about wax melting, about light and darkness and impermanence. He hears these thoughts the way he hears the wind outside. They're just sounds happening in the space of awareness. The thoughts don't change the candles. The candles burn exactly as they burn, regardless of what his mind says about them. There's something restful in this, in noticing that thoughts are just thoughts. They're not commands. They're not truths. They're not problems that need solving. They're just the mind doing what it does. The thoughts you're having right now might feel important. They might feel like problems that need solving before you can rest. Your mind might be telling you that you can't sleep until you figure something out, until you remember what you forgot, until you plan tomorrow properly, until you understand why you feel the way you feel, until you resolve the thing that's bothering you, until you make a decision about that situation. The mind is very convincing when it says these things. It sounds urgent. It sounds true. It sounds like wisdom. But the mind often confuses urgency with importance. Just because a thought feels urgent doesn't mean it needs attention right now. Just because something feels important doesn't mean it can't wait until morning. Sleep doesn't wait for understanding. Sleep doesn't require solutions. Sleep comes when the body feels safe enough and tired enough, and when you stop trying quite so hard to make it happen. The thoughts can still be there. They can circle and repeat and insist on their importance. And somewhere beneath all that, the body can begin to let go. The body doesn't need the mind to be quiet. It just needs the mind to stop being in charge, to stop directing everything, to stop trying to control. The body knows how to sleep. It's been doing it since before you had language, since before you had thoughts complex enough to keep you awake. The monk in the temple sometimes lies down to rest and finds his mind very active. Old memories surface, fragments of conversations from years ago, images from childhood, faces of people he hasn't thought about in decades, things he said that he wishes he hadn't, things he didn't say that he wishes he had, plans for projects that will probably never happen, worries about his health, about aging, about whether he's living his life well. He used to think this meant he was doing something wrong, that his practice was failing, that he should be more disciplined or more focused or more pure in his intention. Now he understands that the mind empties itself in its own time. Trying to force it is like trying to force a river to stop flowing. The river flows because water flows. The mind thinks because minds think. You can't stop it by standing in the way. You can only let it flow and not flow with it. You can feel the darkness around you. Even with your eyes closed, you know it's there. The darkness doesn't push or pull. It doesn't demand or expect. It simply holds everything. Your thoughts, your body, your breath, your worries and your hopes and your memories. All of it exists in this same darkness. The darkness doesn't mind how busy your mind is. It has room for all of it. The darkness has been holding things since before there was light. It's infinitely patient, infinitely spacious. You don't have to do anything to be held by it. You're already being held. You've always been held. There's a path that leads from the temple down the hillside. During the day, people walk this path. Monks going to the village, villagers coming to the temple. They carry things, baskets of vegetables, bundles of incense, letters and packages. They talk to each other. They have destinations. They have purposes. At night, the path is empty and dark. It leads the same places it always leads, but there's no one walking it. The path doesn't need travelers to be a path. It simply exists, whether it's being used or not. It's still a path in the darkness, still leading where it leads, still connecting the temple to the village. Its purpose doesn't depend on anyone walking it right now. You're also like this. Your value doesn't depend on what you're accomplishing, on whether you're productive, on whether you're getting sleep right, or thinking right, or being right. You exist. That's enough. That's always been enough. Your mind might be telling you a story right now, a story about how you can't sleep, about how this always happens, about how you're bad at sleeping, about how tomorrow will be difficult because you're lying here awake, about how other people can just close their eyes and drift off, but you can't, about how something must be wrong with you. The mind is very good at stories. It's been telling them your whole life. Some are about the past, endlessly reviewing what happened, finding patterns, making meaning, creating narrative. Some are about the future, imagining what might happen, planning, worrying, hoping, fearing. Very few are about right now, and right now is just this. Lying here, breathing, being. The story about not sleeping is just that, a story. It feels true, but it's just the mind narrating, creating a plot, making you into a character with problems and struggles. You can hear the story without believing it. You can let the narrator speak without taking notes. The monk knows that thoughts are not commands. When the mind says you should be sleeping, it's not giving an order that must be followed. It's just another thought. When the mind says you're doing this wrong, it's just another thought. When the mind says, "You'll never fall asleep," or "This will go on forever," or "You're terrible at this," these are just more thoughts. They arise from conditions, from tiredness perhaps, from frustration, from habit, from years of conditioning. They don't come from wisdom. They don't come from truth. They come from the mind's tendency to comment on everything, to have opinions about everything, to narrate everything. You don't have to believe everything your mind tells you. You don't have to argue with it either. You can let it speak and keep your attention somewhere softer, somewhere that doesn't need words, somewhere that exists beneath the layer of thinking. In the temple, there's a wooden floor worn smooth by years of footsteps, hundreds of years, maybe thousands. The wood has been walked on so many times that it's become polished, almost glowing in the candlelight. The monk can feel this smoothness beneath him when he sits. He thinks about all the people who walked here before him, all those feet touching this same wood. All those people also had busy minds, also had thoughts that wouldn't stop, also lay awake sometimes wondering why rest wouldn't come. They worried about their lives, about their families, about their decisions, about whether they were good enough, doing enough, being enough. They had all the same thoughts humans have always had. And they're all gone now. Every single one. Their thoughts are gone. Their worries are gone. Their urgent concerns are gone. Their sleepless nights are gone. Only the smooth floor remains. Only the temple. Only the night. Only this moment, which is always new, always happening for the first time. Nothing you're thinking about right now will matter in 100 years. This isn't meant to make your thoughts seem pointless or to diminish what you're going through. It's meant to give you permission to hold them more lightly, to not grip them so tightly. The urgency you feel is something the mind creates. The sense that you must figure this out right now, that you must plan perfectly, that you must understand completely, that you must resolve this before you can rest. The mind creates urgency because urgency feels important. It feels like survival. But here in the darkness, importance fades. Everything becomes equal. Everything becomes just what is. The thought about tomorrow's meeting is just a thought. The thought about your health is just a thought. The thought that you can't sleep is just a thought. They're all the same in their nature, all just movements of mind, all just patterns of energy arising and passing. You might notice sounds around you, the hum of something mechanical, maybe a refrigerator or heating system, the settling of a building as materials expand and contract with temperature, distant traffic, cars moving through the night, a dog barking far away, wind moving through trees or past windows. These sounds don't ask for your attention. They simply happen. They arise and pass without needing anything from you. Your thoughts are also like this. They simply happen. You didn't decide to think them. You didn't wake up this morning and plan out every thought you'd have today. They arose on their own from conditions you mostly don't understand. Memories trigger them. Sensations trigger them. Other thoughts trigger them. They arise from the vast complexity of your brain and your history and your chemistry. And they'll fade on their own if you stop feeding them your attention, if you stop following them down their pathways, if you stop believing they need something from you right now. The monk sometimes counts breaths, not to achieve anything, not to reach a certain number, not to prove he can concentrate, just to give his attention something simple to rest on. He counts slowly. 1 with the in-breath, 2 with the out-breath, 3, 4. If he loses count, he starts again. If his mind wanders, he notices and comes back. There's no failure in this, no getting it right or wrong. Just the gentle return again and again, a soft rhythm like waves touching shore. The wave comes in, the wave goes out, another wave comes. There's no final wave, no destination, just the continuous rhythm. The ocean doesn't try to make perfect waves. It just moves and waves happen. You don't have to make perfect breaths or perfect thoughts or perfect anything. You just have to be here while it's all happening. Your body is heavy. You might not have noticed, but it's been getting heavier. The weight of your legs sinking into the mattress. Your arms resting wherever they are, growing dense and still. Your head pressing into the pillow. This heaviness is good. It means something is releasing, something is letting go, even while the mind continues its movement. The body knows how to rest. It's been resting since before you were born. In the womb, you rested in darkness without thought. Your body remembers this even if your mind has forgotten. It remembers how to soften, how to release, how to be held without effort. The mind may have forgotten, but the body knows. The body always knows. There are stars above the temple. On clear nights, they fill the sky. The monk can see them through the window, thousands of them. Each star is a sun burning far away. Each one has been burning for longer than anyone can imagine. Millions of years, billions. Your thoughts feel very immediate and very important, but they're more like clouds passing in front of those stars. They come and they go. They block the view for a moment and then move on. The stars remain. Something in you also remains beneath all these passing thoughts. Something constant, something that was there before these thoughts and will be there after. The awareness that notices thoughts, the space in which thoughts appear. This awareness doesn't get tired, doesn't get frustrated, doesn't worry about whether it's sleeping or waking. It simply is, always present, always open, always here. The mind might be asking why these thoughts won't stop, why this keeps happening. What's wrong that you can't simply be quiet and rest? Why other people seem to find this easier? What you're doing wrong? What you should do differently? These questions are also thoughts, more clouds passing. You don't need to answer them. You don't need to fix what the mind says is broken. You can simply notice that asking is happening, questioning is happening, seeking is happening. And beneath all that, your breath continues in and out, steady and patient. Your heart continues beating. Your blood continues flowing. Your body continues all its 1,000 processes that keep you alive. None of these things need you to figure anything out. They just continue, reliable, constant, faithful to the task of being alive. In the forest near the temple, there are trees that have stood for many years, some for centuries. They've weathered storms that tore branches from their trunks. They've endured droughts that left their leaves brown and curling. They've survived winters that froze the ground around their roots. They've witnessed seasons beyond counting. The trees don't try to control what happens around them. They simply stand and grow according to their nature. When wind comes, they move. Their branches bend, their leaves shake. When stillness comes, they're still. They don't prefer one to the other. They don't wish for calm when there's wind, or for wind when there's calm. They simply receive what comes. They adapt. They continue. Year after year, storm after storm, season after season. They're still standing. Your thoughts might be looping, coming back to the same things again and again, the same worries circling like water going down a drain, the same plans reviewed and reviewed again, the same questions asked without answers. This looping is tiring. It's like walking in circles, expending energy, but going nowhere. The mind does this when it feels unsafe or uncertain. It checks and rechecks. It goes over things trying to find something it might have missed, trying to gain control through thinking, through analysis, through preparation. But some things can't be controlled through thinking. Some things can only be met as they arrive. You can notice this happening. You can recognize the loop without trying to break it. Sometimes recognition alone is enough to loosen the pattern. Sometimes it's not. Either way, you can stop walking the loop with such focused attention. You can let it continue in the background while your awareness rests somewhere else. The monk lights incense sometimes. He watches the smoke rise from the glowing tip. It curls and drifts in patterns that can't be predicted. One moment, it rises straight up. The next, it spirals. It spreads and thins and eventually disappears into the air. His thoughts are also like this. They rise and move in patterns and eventually dissolve. He doesn't have to do anything to make them dissolve. He just stops adding to them, stops following them into their stories, stops believing that each one needs his full attention. When he stops feeding attention to a thought, it fades naturally, not because he pushed it away, just because he stopped fueling it. Attention is like oxygen to thoughts. They need it to keep burning. When you withdraw attention gently, without force, the thought fades, the way incense smoke fades into air. You're allowed to be tired and awake at the same time. You're allowed to want sleep and not have it come yet. You're allowed to be exactly as you are right now, without it meaning anything is wrong. The mind will argue with this. It will say, you should be different, that you should be sleeping, that something needs to change, that you're doing it wrong, that you're broken somehow. Let the mind say these things. It doesn't know any other way to be. It's been trained your whole life to judge and evaluate and find problems. This is what minds do in the culture you live in. But you can rest in the not knowing, in the uncertainty, in the space where nothing is fixed or solved or finished. You can be incomplete, and that's okay. You can be in process, and that's okay. You can be exactly this, whatever this is, and it's enough. There's a bowl in the temple. It sits on a wooden stand near the altar. It's made of bronze, dark with age. Sometimes the monk fills it with water, sometimes with rice, sometimes with flowers, sometimes it's empty. Right now, it holds a few drops from rain that came through the window. Just a small amount of water in the bottom of the bowl. The bowl doesn't mind what it holds. It doesn't prefer to be full or empty. It simply receives what comes. Your awareness is also like this. It receives thoughts without rejecting them. It receives sensations without clinging to them. It receives this moment as it is. Joy or sorrow, wakefulness or sleep, peace or restlessness. The awareness itself is like the bowl. It holds what comes without being changed by it. The water doesn't make the bowl wet in its essence. The emptiness doesn't make it less of a bowl. It remains what it is, regardless of its contents. The night is long. There are hours still before morning. This doesn't mean you must stay awake for all of them. It simply means there's space. there's time. There's no rush. Even if sleep takes a while to come, there's nowhere else you need to be. Nothing else you need to do. No one waiting for you. No deadline approaching. This is your time to simply exist without purpose or goal. To be a body breathing in darkness. To be awareness that notices without judging. To be alive in this moment without any particular reason. Life doesn't always need reasons. Breath doesn't need a reason. Being doesn't need a reason. You can just be here because here is where you are. Your thoughts might be trying to solve something, trying to figure out how to sleep, what technique to use, what to focus on, whether to count breaths or visualize something or relax your muscles or think of nothing or think of something peaceful. The mind loves problems and solutions. It feels useful when it's solving. It feels productive. It feels like it's doing something important. But sleep isn't a problem. Sleep is something that happens when conditions are right. You can't force the conditions. You can't make yourself meet the criteria. You can only allow them. You can only stop working against them. Every time you try to make sleep happen, you create a small tension, a small effort. And effort is the opposite of sleep. Trying is the opposite of sleep. Sleep comes when trying stops. The monk knows that effort and rest don't go together. The more you try to rest, the more effort you create. So he practices allowing. He allows his body to be heavy, allows his breath to move as it wants to move, allows thoughts to come and go like weather, allows the night to hold him without his help. This allowing isn't passive. It's not giving up. It's a gentle, active softening, a continuous letting go of the need to control. It takes practice to allow. The mind wants to control. It wants to manage and direct and make things happen. Allowing feels dangerous to the mind, like giving up, like losing. But allowing is actually the strongest thing. It's saying yes to what is. It's relaxing into reality instead of fighting it. And reality is that you're here, awake or asleep. And either one is fine. In the temple garden, there's a stone that's been there longer than the temple itself. It was there before the first building was raised, before the first tree was planted. It's just a stone, large and gray and weathered. Rain falls on it and runs off into the soil. Sun warms it during the day, and it holds the heat into the evening. Snow covers it in winter, and it bears the weight without complaint. The stone doesn't resist any of this. It doesn't have preferences. It simply receives what comes. It changes very slowly over years and years, water and wind and temperature gradually wearing it down, reshaping it. But the changes are so slow that in a single lifetime you wouldn't notice. Your thoughts want everything to change right now. They want immediate peace, immediate sleep, immediate relief. But change often comes slowly, quietly, in ways you don't notice until later. The stone doesn't rush. The mountain doesn't rush. The earth doesn't rush. Only the mind rushes. You might feel frustration. The mind might be angry that this isn't working, that you're still awake, that the thoughts haven't stopped, that nothing has changed despite your attention to all this. Frustration is another visitor, another guest in the temple of your awareness. You don't have to welcome it, but you don't have to fight it either. It arrives because conditions brought it. Tiredness, expectation, habit, the belief that you should be able to control this. It will leave when conditions change. Fighting it only creates more tension, more reasons to stay awake, more activation in your nervous system. You can feel frustration without becoming it. You can notice it the way you notice heat or cold. It's just a sensation, just an energy moving through. It doesn't define you. It doesn't mean anything about you. It's just frustration being frustration. The monk hears rain beginning outside, soft drops on the roof tiles. He doesn't think about the rain. He simply hears it. The sound fills the space. Each drop is distinct for a moment, and then part of the whole, part of the larger sound of rain. His mind might comment, might say it's raining, might wonder how long it will last, might think about the garden receiving water, might remember other rains. But these thoughts are very faint compared to the actual sound. The real rain is louder than the thoughts about rain, more immediate, more present. The thoughts are like echoes, like distant commentary. The rain itself is right here, touching the roof, making sound, being rain. There's a difference between experiencing something and thinking about experiencing it. The experience is always fuller, always more real, always more alive than the thought. Your body knows things your mind doesn't. It knows when to breathe, when to blink, how to heal a cut, how to digest food, how to grow hair, how to regulate temperature. It knows thousands of things, millions of processes happening beneath conscious awareness. It knows how to sleep too. You don't have to teach it. You don't have to help it. You don't have to guide it through the process. You just have to stop interfering, stop trying so hard, stop monitoring and checking and evaluating. Let the body do what it already knows how to do. It's been alive without your conscious help this entire time. Your heart didn't wait for you to learn how to beat. Your lungs didn't wait for you to understand breathing. They just did what they do. Sleep is also like this. It's a natural process. Your body knows it. Your body remembers it. You just have to get out of the way. There are scrolls in the temple, old writings preserved in wooden boxes. The paper is yellowed and brittle. The ink has faded. Few people read them anymore. The words were important to someone once. They meant something. They tried to capture truth in language, to express understanding in characters and sentences. But the truth they pointed to was before language, before words, before thoughts. It exists in the simple fact of being, of breathing, of existing here in this moment. You don't need words for this. You don't need understanding. You don't need to comprehend anything. You just need to be. And you already are. You're already being, already existing, already here. The mind wants to understand being, to think about it, to have concepts and ideas about it. But being happens before understanding. Being is what makes understanding possible. You don't have to understand this. You just have to notice that you're breathing. That's enough. That's being. The thoughts might be getting quieter now, or they might not. It doesn't matter which. What matters is that you're here, that you're breathing, that your body is being held by the earth beneath you, that the darkness surrounds you like water, cool and neutral and patient. The darkness has no agenda. It doesn't care if you sleep or stay awake. It doesn't judge you. It doesn't have expectations. It simply is. And you can rest in that isness even while thoughts continue, even while the mind does its thing, even while you're exactly as you are. The darkness accepts all of it. The darkness has been accepting everything since before there was anything to accept. The monk sometimes falls asleep sitting up. His body tips forward slightly, and then he wakes. This happens sometimes. He doesn't scold himself. doesn't think he's failed at meditation or at being a monk or at being awake. He simply notices and continues sitting, or he lies down, whatever feels right in that moment. There's no rule that says rest must look a certain way. It can come sitting or lying down, with eyes open or closed, with thoughts or without them. Rest is what happens when you stop resisting what is, when you stop fighting with reality, when you say yes to this moment, even if this moment isn't what you wanted. You can feel the temperature of the air on your skin. Maybe it's cool where the blanket doesn't cover. Maybe it's warm underneath the covers. Your body adjusts without you thinking about it. Blood moves to warm or cool different areas. Muscles relax or tense slightly to conserve or release heat. All of this happens beneath your awareness, beneath your thinking. Your body is doing so much that your mind doesn't know about, so much that doesn't require your attention or help. Your kidneys are filtering blood. Your liver is processing chemicals. Your immune system is patrolling for threats. Your cells are dividing and dying and being replaced. Your body is an entire universe of activity and intelligence, and you don't have to think about any of it. It just happens. Life just happens. Breathing just happens. And sleep also just happens when you stop standing in its way. In the forest, the trees are still. The rain falls through their branches. Water drips from leaf to leaf, making its way down to the earth, each drop finding its path, following gravity, not thinking, not choosing, just falling at the speed of falling. There's no hurry in this, no urgency. The rain doesn't rush, it simply falls. The earth doesn't rush to receive it, it simply receives. The water soaks in at the speed of soaking in. Everything moves at its own pace. Everything arrives when it arrives. The rain doesn't try to fall faster. The earth doesn't try to absorb faster. They're just being what they are, doing what they do, following their nature. You can also follow your nature. Your nature is to sleep when your body is tired. Your nature is to think when your mind is active. Both are fine. Both are natural. Neither needs to be forced or changed. Your mind might notice that your thoughts are different now, less urgent maybe, more distant, like they're happening farther away. Or maybe they're still very present, still very loud, still very much here. Both are fine. You're not trying to make thoughts go away. You're just practicing not going with them, not following them into their stories, not believing that each one is important or true or necessary. Thoughts are like birds flying by. You can watch them pass. You can notice their shape and color, but you don't have to follow them. You don't have to fly with them. You can stay here, grounded, breathing, being. The monk's teacher once told him that the mind is like a waterfall. It just keeps flowing. Water pours over the edge constantly. You can't stop a waterfall by standing in it and pushing against the water. You'll just get tired and wet. You can only step to the side. Find a place near the waterfall where you can hear it without being in it, where you can see it without being swept along. The thoughts keep falling, but you're no longer standing directly under them. You're nearby, close enough to notice, far enough to not be overwhelmed. The waterfall doesn't need you to stand in it. It falls whether you're there or not. Your thoughts will continue whether you pay attention to them or not. They have their own momentum, their own energy. They'll think themselves if you let them. There's a cup in the temple. It was used for tea earlier. Now it sits empty on a tray. The inside of the cup still holds the faint scent of tea. Jasmine, maybe, or green tea. The cup doesn't think about when it will be used again, doesn't worry about being empty, doesn't feel less valuable because it's not currently full. It simply sits and exists as a cup. Your mind might say, this is a silly comparison, that people aren't cups, that this doesn't help. And that's true. People aren't cups. But there's something in the simplicity, in the way things can just be without needing to be anything else. The cup is content being empty. Can you be content being awake? Can you be content with thoughts? Can you be content with exactly what this moment contains? You might notice your jaw is tight, or your shoulders are raised, or there's tension in your forehead, or somewhere else in your body is holding. You don't have to fix this. You don't have to force relaxation. You don't have to try to let go. Just notice. Just bring a gentle attention to the tightness. Sometimes that's enough. Sometimes the body releases just because it's been noticed, because awareness has touched it. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the tension stays. That's also fine. You're not trying to achieve a perfect state of relaxation. You're not trying to be perfectly calm or perfectly peaceful or perfectly anything. You're just being with what is. And what is includes tightness sometimes, includes tension, includes all the ways your body holds and protects and braces. You can be with it all. The rain outside the temple is steady now. It creates a sound that fills everything. White noise, gentle and constant. The monk lets this sound wash through him. He doesn't hold on to it, doesn't push it away. It's just there, like breath, like heartbeat, like the thoughts moving through his mind. Everything just there, everything just happening, nothing needing to be different than it is. The rain doesn't need his approval to fall. The night doesn't need his permission to be dark. Reality doesn't wait for his agreement. It just is what it is. And he can be with it or fight against it. Being with it is easier. Being with it is softer. Being with it takes no effort at all. Your breathing might be slowing down. You might not have noticed, but the spaces between breaths might be getting longer. The breath goes out and there's a pause before it comes back in. That pause is full of nothing, full of quiet. Not the quiet of no thoughts, just the quiet of not doing, of not trying, of existing in the gap between one moment and the next. That gap has always been there, between every breath, between every heartbeat, between every thought. These tiny gaps of nothing, of pure being, of existence without content. You don't have to make the gaps. They're already there. You just have to notice them. And in noticing them, you touch something that was there before thinking, something that exists beneath thought. The simple fact of being alive. In the temple, there are shadows. The candlelight creates them. Shadows on the walls, on the floor, on the monk's robes. They move slightly as the flames flicker. The monk watches shadows sometimes. He sees how they're not real in the way solid things are real. They're created by light and object. They have no substance of their own, no weight, no solidity. Thoughts are also like shadows. They seem real. They seem important. But they're created by conditions, by the light of attention shining on memory or imagination or sensation. Without the conditions, they wouldn't exist. And even with the conditions, they're not solid, not permanent, not as important as they seem, just shadows dancing on a wall. There's a fountain in the temple courtyard. During the day, water flows through it. At night, the water is still. It sits in the basin, reflecting the sky. The monk can see stars in the water when he looks, the same stars that are in the actual sky. The reflection looks real, but if you reach for it, your hand just gets wet. You can't touch the stars in the water. They're not really there. Some of your thoughts are like this. They seem real, but they're reflections. Reflections of fears, of desires, of things that happened before or might happen later. The reflections can be beautiful or disturbing, but they're not the actual thing. They're just images on the surface of your mind. You might notice that your mind is creating images right now. Pictures of the temple, perhaps, of the monk, of the forest. These images aren't real, but they serve a purpose. They give your mind something to do, something gentler than worry, something softer than planning. The mind likes to make pictures. It's been doing it since you were a child. When someone tells you a story, your mind creates images. This is natural. Let the images come. Let them be whatever they are. They're just another form of thought, just another movement of mind. They don't require anything from you. They're just passing through like everything else. The monk knows that the mind needs something to hold. It's uncomfortable with emptiness, with nothing. So instead of trying to think of nothing, he gives his mind something simple: the breath, the sound of rain, the feeling of his body sitting. These are gentle anchors, places the mind can rest without working too hard. You can also give your mind something simple: the weight of your body on the bed, the softness of the pillow, the warmth under the blanket. These sensations are always here, always available, and they're happening now, in this moment, which makes them different from thoughts about past or future. There's a quality to this moment that's different from thought. Thoughts are about things, about situations and people and events. But this moment is just itself. It's not about anything. It's just the raw fact of existing, of being alive, of breathing. This quality is hard to describe because language is made of thoughts, and thoughts are about things. But you can feel it, the simple isness of now, the there-ness of being here. It's underneath the thoughts, underneath the stories. It's what remains when everything else is stripped away. The rain is lighter now. Individual drops can be heard more clearly. Each one makes its own small sound. Tap, tap, tap. The monk listens without trying to listen. The sound just comes to him. Your breath is also like this. It comes without trying. It goes without effort. The body breathes itself. You don't have to help. You don't have to guide it or improve it or make it special. It's already happening, already perfect in its simplicity, already doing exactly what it needs to do. You might notice sounds in your own environment, the hum of electronics, the sound of your own breathing, maybe the beating of your heart if you're very still. These sounds are part of the aliveness of this moment. They're not good or bad, not pleasant or unpleasant necessarily. They're just what's here, what's present, what's real right now. And being with what's real is restful in its own way. It's restful because it doesn't require imagination, doesn't require projection, doesn't require you to be anywhere other than where you are. The monk shifts his weight slightly. His leg was getting stiff. He doesn't think this means he's failed at sitting still. He just moves, adjusts, finds comfort. You can also move if you need to. Shift position, adjust the pillow, pull the blanket differently. Rest doesn't mean being frozen. It means being comfortable enough to settle. being at ease enough to soften. If something needs adjusting, you can adjust it. This isn't failure, it's just taking care of yourself, being kind to your body, listening to what it needs. There's a teaching in the temple written on a wall. It's very old. The characters are faded. The monk has read it many times, but tonight he's not thinking about what it says. He's just aware that it's there, that it exists, that someone long ago thought it was important enough to write on a wall. The content doesn't matter right now, just the fact of it, the presence of it. Everything in the temple has this quality. Everything exists without needing to prove its worth. The wall is just a wall. The floor is just a floor. They don't need to be anything more. You're also just yourself. Just this. Just here. You don't need to be anything more than what you are in this moment. Your thoughts might be softer now, like they're wrapped in something, like they're happening behind a curtain. Or they might still be sharp and clear. Both are fine. You're not measuring the quality of thoughts, not evaluating whether they're getting better or worse. You're just noticing them, letting them be, giving them space to exist without making them important. The mind will think. That's what it does. But you don't have to make every thought into a project, into something that needs attention. Most thoughts can just pass through like clouds, like shadows, like rain. The candles in the temple are very low now. The flames are small. They barely light the room anymore. The monk doesn't get up to replace them. He just sits in the growing darkness. The darkness doesn't bother him. It's just darkness, just the absence of light. Nothing more, nothing less. The darkness in your room is also just darkness. It's not threatening, not empty in a bad way. It's just the natural state of night, of closed eyes, of rest. The darkness holds you gently. It asks nothing. It simply is. You might notice that time feels different now. It might feel like you've been here for a long time. Or maybe it feels like just moments. Time does strange things when you're not busy, when you're not accomplishing tasks or moving toward goals. It stretches and bends. It loses its usual markers. This is fine. You don't need to know what time it is. You don't need to track how long you've been lying here. Time is just passing the way time passes. You're just being here the way you're being here. Nothing needs to be measured or evaluated. The monk remembers when he first came to the temple, how hard he tried, how much effort he put into being peaceful, into being calm, into being a good monk. He thought peace was something you achieved through discipline, through control, through perfect practice. But the harder he tried, the more elusive peace became. It wasn't until he stopped trying so hard that he began to understand. Peace isn't something you create. It's something you stop disrupting. It's what remains when you stop fighting, when you stop resisting, when you stop trying to be anything other than what you are. Your mind might have opinions about this. It might say, that sounds too simple, too easy, that surely there must be more to it, that you need to do something, to try harder, to find the right technique. Let the mind have its opinions. The mind likes complexity. It likes to feel important and useful. Simplicity can feel threatening to the mind because if things are simple, then what's the mind for? But you don't have to convince your mind. You can just let it think its thoughts while you rest in something simpler, while you just breathe, while you just exist. There's a tree outside the temple that's very old. Its trunk is thick and gnarled. Its branches reach in all directions. In spring it blooms. In summer it provides shade. In autumn its leaves turn golden and fall. In winter it stands bare. The tree doesn't try to skip winter, doesn't try to hold on to summer. It moves through each season as the season comes. Right now, you're in a season of wakefulness. Your mind is active. Your body is awake. This is the season you're in. You don't have to skip it or rush through it. You can just be in it. Just move through it. The next season will come when it comes. Sleep will arrive when it arrives. You don't have to force it or make it happen. The rain has stopped now. There's a silence that follows rain, a particular kind of quiet. The world feels washed, clean, new. The monk opens the window slightly. Cool air comes in. It smells like wet earth and leaves. He breathes it in, breathes it out. The air moves through him and continues on its way. Your breath is also like this. Air moving through you, coming in from the world, going back out to the world. You're not separate from the air, not separate from the night, not separate from the earth that holds you. You're part of it all, breathing with it all, existing with it all. You might notice your hands, where they are, how they feel. Are they folded, resting at your sides? One on your chest, perhaps. Your hands are just resting. They're not doing anything, not making anything, not holding anything, just existing, just being hands. There's something peaceful in this, in noticing parts of your body that are simply at rest, not working, not producing, just being. Your whole body can be like this, just existing without purpose, without task, without having to earn its rest. The monk thinks about all the people who will come to the temple tomorrow. They'll bring their worries, their questions, their pain. They'll ask him for wisdom, for answers, for peace. And he'll sit with them. He'll listen. But he won't try to fix them. He won't try to take away their thoughts or their troubles. He'll just be present, just offer his presence. Because sometimes that's enough. Sometimes being with someone in their difficulty is more helpful than trying to solve it. You can be present with yourself in this same way. You can be with your wakefulness, with your thoughts, with your restlessness. You don't have to fix it. You can just be with it. Just keep yourself company. There's a gentleness in this, in not fighting, in not trying to change what is. The mind might say, this is giving up, that you should keep trying, keep working at sleep, keep pushing for peace. But there's a difference between giving up and letting go. Giving up feels defeated. Letting go feels like release, like softening, like saying yes to this moment, even if it's not the moment you wanted. This yes doesn't mean you prefer to be awake. It just means you're not at war with being awake. You're not making it into an enemy. You're just acknowledging that this is what's happening right now. The monk stands and walks slowly across the room. His legs are stiff from sitting. He moves carefully, mindfully. Each step is just a step, not going anywhere particularly. Just movement for the sake of movement. You might also want to move, to shift, to change position. This is fine. Rest isn't about being perfectly still. It's about being comfortable, about being at ease. If your body wants to move, it can move. If it wants to be still, it can be still. You can trust these impulses. They come from your body's wisdom, from its knowledge of what it needs. There's a window in the temple that faces east. In a few hours, the sky will begin to lighten there. Not with sunrise yet, just with the first hint that night is ending. The monk sometimes watches this transition. the way darkness gradually becomes less dark, the way shapes emerge from shadow. It happens so slowly you can't see it happening. You only notice when you look away and look back. Change is often like this, gradual, imperceptible in the moment. You might not notice yourself getting sleepy. It might just happen slowly, gradually, while your attention is elsewhere, while you're just being here, just breathing. Your eyes might feel heavy, or they might feel wide open. Both are fine. You don't have to try to make them heavy. Don't have to try to make them close. They'll do what they do. The body knows when it's ready for sleep, when the conditions are right. You don't have to orchestrate this. Don't have to manage it. You can just allow it. Just be here and allow whatever happens to happen. This allowing is a kind of trust. Trust in your body. Trust in the process. Trust that sleep will come when it's ready to come. The monk returns to sitting. He settles back onto the floor. His body finds its place. He doesn't have to think about how to sit. His body knows. It's sat like this countless times. The position is familiar, comfortable. Your body also knows how to rest. It's rested countless times. The position you're in might need small adjustments, but mostly your body knows what to do. It knows how to settle, how to soften, how to prepare for sleep. You don't have to teach it. You just have to not interfere with what it already knows. There's a sound in the distance, maybe a bird or a small animal, something moving through the night. The sound comes and goes. The monk hears it without trying to identify it. It's just a sound, just vibration in air reaching his ears. He doesn't need to know what made it, doesn't need to understand it. It's just there, and then it's gone. Your thoughts are also like this. They come, they go. You don't need to identify each one. Don't need to understand where it came from or why. It's just there, and then it's gone. Just movement in the mind, just energy passing through. You might notice that your body has settled more deeply into the bed, that the initial alertness of lying down has softened, that there's a heaviness that wasn't there before. This is good. This is the body beginning to trust, beginning to release. It doesn't mean sleep is coming in the next moment. It just means the body is doing what it knows how to do. It's preparing, it's settling. And you don't have to help. You can just notice and allow. The monk sometimes counts heartbeats instead of breaths. He feels the pulse in his wrist or his neck, feels the rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. The heart beats without his permission, without his help. It's been beating since before he was born, since he was just a collection of cells forming in darkness. The heart knows its job. Your heart also knows its job. It beats steadily whether you notice it or not, whether you think about it or not, whether you sleep or wake. It just continues, faithful, constant, reliable. You can rest in this reliability, this constancy, this faithfulness of your own body to the task of keeping you alive. There are things in the temple that are broken. A crack in one of the walls, a chip in a bowl, a worn spot on the floor. These imperfections don't make the temple less of a temple. They're just part of its history, part of its story. You also have imperfections, things about yourself you might wish were different, the way your mind won't quiet, the way sleep doesn't come easily, the way you worry or plan or remember. These aren't failures. They're just part of your story, part of being human. The monk doesn't try to fix everything in the temple. He just accepts it as it is. You can also accept yourself as you are. not as a permanent giving up on growth or change, just as a present moment acknowledgement. Right now, this is how it is, and that's okay. Your breathing continues, in and out. Maybe it's shallow, maybe it's deep, maybe it's uneven. However it is, it's perfect for this moment. The breath doesn't try to be a certain way. It just responds to what the body needs. When you need more oxygen, it comes faster. When you need less, it slows. The body regulates this without your conscious mind. You can trust this regulation. Trust that the body knows what it needs. Trust that you don't have to manage every process. Some things manage themselves. The monk hears the wind picking up outside. It moves through the trees, through the grass, around the temple. Wind is invisible, but you can hear it. You can feel it. You know it's there by what it moves. Your thoughts are also invisible. You can't see them, can't touch them. But you know they're there by how they move through you, by what they affect, by the feelings they create. But just because you can feel the effects doesn't mean the thoughts are solid. Doesn't mean they're real in the way a table is real. They're more like wind, present but not graspable, moving but not substantial. You might notice temperature again, how your body has adjusted to it, how what felt cool before now feels neutral. The body is always adjusting, always finding equilibrium. This happens beneath awareness. The body doesn't announce these adjustments, it just makes them. Your nervous system is also always adjusting, always trying to find balance between alertness and rest, between activation and calming. Sometimes it takes a while to find that balance. Sometimes the adjustment is slow. You can let it take the time it takes. Let the process unfold at its own pace. There's a rhythm to the night, not a rhythm you can hear, just the rhythm of time passing, of moments following moments, of breath following breath, of heartbeat following heartbeat. This rhythm continues whether you notice it or not, whether you sleep or wake. The night moves at the pace of night. It doesn't rush toward morning, doesn't linger in darkness. It just is what it is, unfolding as nights unfold. You're part of this rhythm, this unfolding. You don't have to keep pace with it or match it. You're already in it, already moving with it, already exactly where you are in the flow of time. The monk's mind wanders to something someone said yesterday, a question they asked. He notices this wandering, notices the mind pulling him into memory. He doesn't scold himself, doesn't try to force the mind back. He just notices. Oh, thinking about yesterday. And in that noticing, there's space. The thought continues, but he's not lost in it. He's aware that thinking is happening. This awareness is like a light in a room. It doesn't change what's in the room, but it makes everything visible. Your awareness is also like this. When you notice your thinking, that noticing creates space, creates a little distance. You're not trying to stop the thoughts. You're just aware they're happening. You might be aware that thoughts are happening right now. Thoughts about what you're hearing, about the temple, about the monk, about your own situation. These thoughts are fine. They're part of being here, part of listening, part of being awake. You don't have to stop them. You can just let them be part of the experience, part of this moment. They don't prevent rest, don't prevent the body from softening. The mind can be active and the body can rest. These happen together. They're not opposites. They're just different aspects of being.